Okay, so to create a graph in Excel that has several lines on it, like you're going to do for your molasses experiment, you need to put your data in a table. And the easiest way to do it is to put it in a table in the same order that it's on your data sheet. So we have the time across the top, 30, 60, 90 minutes, and then we have the concentrations of molasses in the first column, 0, 35, 70, and 100%. And the data in here are the percent changes in weight compared to 0 minutes. So this is the easiest way to set it up. Then what you're going to do is highlight the data that you are going to graph. Now include your headings, so 30, 60, 90 minutes, and include the dialysis or the molasses concentrations, because that will put them in a legend for you. Now the next part will depend on what version of Excel you have, but they're all relatively similar. This is the Mac version, so it's going to look a little bit different from the PC version. And what you're going to do is select Insert from the top menu and select Charts. And charts will come up in various places depending on what version of Excel you have, but you'll see it quite readily. Then you want to select the right kind of chart, and it's really important that you always select scatter plot. Don't select line graph because it makes the x-axis a categorical variable rather than numerically related to the y-axis. So always select scatter plot, at least for every graph you do in physiology. So click on scatter, and now it doesn't matter for this particular experiment. You can leave just the points, or you can connect them with a line, and I actually like to connect them with a line, so I'm going to select that. And your graph pops up. So the next thing you want to do is look at your graph and say, well, did that plot what I wanted it to plot? And it actually didn't, because we want to look at the change in weight of dialysis tubes over time. And clearly what we're plotting on the x-axis is not time. We've got points at, I don't know, it looks like 35 minutes or so, and 70 minutes, and 100 minutes. So what that means is we must have the molasses concentrations on the x-axis. The percent changes in weight on the y-axis look okay if you look where the points are compared to what's in your table. So what happened was we have to flip our axes. So on the Mac, it says switch plot. On the PC version of Excel, it'll say switch X and Y axes, and it'll be, I think it's over on the left or up in the menu up here. So we're going to say switch plot, and what it does is, like magic, hopefully, if I press the right button, there we go. We now have time on the x-axis because we know we have percent differences for 30, 60, and 90 minutes. And then we have our molasses concentrations showing up in the legend. So now we know our data are plotted correctly, and we can see for our 0% molasses, we don't see any change over time, which is fairly predictable, and then we can see we have the greatest increase in weight for our 100% molasses. So our data look like they're plotted correctly. Well, we can't just turn in a graph like this because there's no labels on it. So in the version of Excel that's on all the campus computers, they have some quick layouts that are really helpful, and those are under in the version of Excel on the lab computers and the PC versions, they're under the Design tab. And so if you look for the quick chart layouts, the first one that comes up is the one you want. So if you click on Layout 1, and on the PC version it's the first layout as well, it gives you a template to put your chart title and your axis titles. So all you have to do is click on them, and just highlight over. Oops, I actually moved it by accident. Click on it, highlight it, and we're going to call this axis time in minutes, and change this axis title to be percent change in weight. Percent doesn't have any units, so we can just put percent change in weight, and we're fine with that. For the chart title, you want to include enough information that somebody knows what you actually did. So you want to include, and I'm going to put some key words in here that you will, when you do your graph, put together in a sentence. So you're going to have something about change in weight. You're going to have something about molasses concentrations, and dialysis tubes are in there, and they were sitting in water. And so you're going to put all of these together into a coherent sentence that will let the reader know, what does 0, 35, 70, and 100 mean? Why do those lines go up over time? So that is all you need to know to make a graph in Excel. Hopefully this is helpful. If you are having trouble with your graph, please ask your lab instructor for help. And you can ask any other lab instructor if yours is not available. There is a document on Blackboard called Lab Instructor Contact Information, and it will tell you who all of the lab instructors are, where you can find them, and what their office hours are. So make sure to ask if you do not know how to make your graph or answer any of the questions that are related to your lab assignments.